Good afternoon, everybody. This is Scarlet coming to you guys from A's Call. A's guest is a Pokemon player who's played literally every game we have in the main series, with the exception of Arceus, but has more than enough experience to basically give a good. Let's give a good welcome to Thomas Hogan. Firstly, Tom, welcome to the show.
Hi everybody, yes, my name is Thomas, mostly known by Hogan at my Instagram account. I did a bit of cosplay, and I was a bit surprised when Paradox called me out and shouting, hey, you want to do an interview about Pokemon? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not?
Hey, that's actually really cool, very nice. Now talk to me. What was your first experience with Pokemon, and how do you discover the franchise?
Well, I first discovered the franchise through the TV series or the anime, with Ash Ketchum. I was like maybe 4 or 5 years old. But then I actually got into the games through simulators and emulators. I first did with my cousin who played, I think it was Pokemon Stadium, the first stuff that I met the games. And then he also started playing an emulator for Pokemon Ruby. Now, at that point, I didn't know about the Generation 3 Pokemon. That was like 2003, 2002.
Okay.
I was only up to date with the anime at the beginning, with the Generation 1. So when I saw like Blaziken, that was like one of the first Gen 3 Pokemon that I saw, I didn't recognize the sprite or the name. So I actually confused it and thought it was a Digimon game instead. But sometime after, I learned that no, this is actually a Pokemon game. And from then on, it's just been watching the series, and my very first Pokemon game that I actually owned, like physically, it was a Pokemon Emerald. I actually still have the cartridge with me.
Nice, very nice. So I imagine you managed to play Scarlet and Violet at some point, right?
Oh yes, I bought it for the launch. This is a community here in Panama called Stadium 507, and through that, it's through them I was able to get it. In fact, I actually went to their launch event last year when the game came out. And I didn't play until I got home because I was busy attending the event and just enjoyed the environment. But then afterwards, I did get to play the game for most of like the end of last year and the beginning of this year. I think I finished the main stories, like all 3 paths, and the main one at the end, probably by mid-January or by the end of January. I don't remember.
All right, that's good. It's very good. All right, so question I would have for you would be following. Since you managed to play quite a bit of the games, you've actually managed to test out all the mechanics, Megas, Seed, Frostalization, and Dynamax. Which one of them has been the best in your?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Just to start crossing out, I didn't like Z-Blood, right? Like, I get it was like the finisher type of like in a game, like it was like an ultimate, like when you do Smash or League of Legends. But it wasn't a mechanic that I really enjoyed. I know it has its perks in competitive, but it wasn't something which most of the time I played casually, didn't feel it added anything to the game experience. Now, the second one that I liked the most would be Mega Evolution. Like, Mega Evolution for me, it felt fresh, like for a lot of people. It gave brand new designs for a lot of Pokemon, and it also gave them a lot more availability, both in terms of casual play and also competitive. One of my favorite Pokemon sadly got a Mega Evolution, but it didn't benefit it the most. Garchomp on its own, like regular Garchomp, is really good and is really fast. But then they came up with Mega Garchomp and they took away 10 points out of its speed, and while 92 is not bad for its base speed, that was pretty detrimental for its overall usage. And then lastly, I think I would say that Dynamax and Gigantamax, by extension, might be my favorite mechanic. Mostly because of its usage in the games, like in the story, and then also for the aspect. Like, I mentioned a lot of competitive, even though I don't play it often, but I do think that for the strategies that people can come up with in the competitive field with Dynamax was really interesting, because it's all of the mechanics are only done once in the battle, but I feel that Dynamax was pretty strategic because of the fact that any Pokemon could do it. It lasted only 3 turns, so you had to be really precise as to the timing as to when you would use it for competition. And again, for the games, I thought it really cool that we had like such big stadiums in the Galar region to be able to have such gigantic battles with Pokemon of those sizes. So for all those reasons, I think that Dynamax might have been my favorite out of all of them. And it's very sad that they didn't continue with the mechanic afterwards, because after Sword and Shield came out, like the Diamond and Pearl remake, which were awful remakes, by the way, in my opinion. and I really had like high expectations that when we got those remakes, because I pretty much grew up playing Sinnoh. Like my first game was Emerald, yes. Hone is my home region, but Sinnoh was the region that I spent the most amount of time. I have around nearly 500 hours in my Pokemon Diamond game, and I just simply enjoyed the vibe. I know a lot of people complained about how slow it felt, the way that the movements, the surfing speed was pretty slow, but I don't know, I felt that with how slow it was, I felt like I could like fully get invested into the game and the atmosphere games. And I just simply treasure a lot my time playing in Sinnoh because of that. So I had like really big expectations when the remakes were announced, and that I was sorely disappointed with the product that we got. And obviously, I should have gotten Legends Arceus.
Yeah.
Because that's the Sinnoh remake that we were all expecting.
Yeah, the one thing that I do have to point out though is that it's kind of hilarious how, even with the remakes being a lot easier, somehow Cynthia still remains hard as hell.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I did see. I haven't reached to that point because I couldn't bother finishing the Brilliant Diamond remake. But I did look up into the into Bulbapedia that Cynthia just has this scary team, and like it's all fully EV trained. They have like perfect IVs, and they have these competitive sets in them. It's terrifying, honestly.
It really is.
And yeah, I just really love Cynthia. Like both as a challenger, her character, she's really cool.
Yeah. Considering, speaking of that, it's interesting that we bring up Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, because people have often said that the games have become a lot less in recent years. I haven't played art. So, do you agree with the fact that things have gotten easier when it comes to the main series games?
You mean in terms of like difficulty?
Yeah.
I think they've improved on it. Like the first time I felt they were starting to get easy was when they released X and Y. With the whole idea of like the experience share being turned on for like the entire party, even though that's a feature that was back 1, but then they reworked it for I think Gen 3 to only be one Pokemon. But when they started with Gen 6 with X and Y, I felt that's when they were testing the waters and didn't really know how it was going to work out. I don't know how that was found out, but that's when I felt it was starting to get easier. But then as we moved on to Generation 7, I think that they balanced it better than how they did it in Generation 6. But then in Generation 8, because of the whole wild area, I have vastly different experience than most average players, because since we have this whole new idea of an open world in a Pokemon game, I just went around doing whatever else besides playing the main game, you know? I just wanted to go around, explore, feel free, just battle high-level wild Pokemon. And what I started doing a lot is that I would try to like balance out my levels before I challenge to make him, try to be around this level as possible to, you know, keep some semblance of challenge in it. But through Sword and Shield's the Dynamax rates, and because I think at that point they also included so that if you catch a Pokemon, no, that's just 6, never mind, that when you catch a Pokemon, you also gain experience. I would just go on a rampage and just go around catching wild Pokemon in Pokedex, and because of that, my Pokemon went way above level than what they should be. So I had a considerably easier time with Sword and Shield. I do think that a lot of people have thought that they've been getting easier. So one thing that I've been trying to do to compensate the difficulty curve, since the experience share can be used for multiple Pokemon, I try to train not just a team of 6. I try to do like 12, 18 Pokemon so that I can be able to have a lot of variety of Pokemon to use, and also so that I don't get stuck with the same 6 over-level Pokemon. That's what I've been trying to do so I can compensate for that difficulty curve.
Very smart, actually. So, have you ever considered playing Pokemon competitively at any point?
I have considered in the past,
Right.
actually. It was on when Gen 6 was still running around. I saw a couple of YouTubers explaining the whole situation about how competitive Pokemon work, the whole idea about EV training and IV breeding. To be honest, I'm not a fan of breeding. I don't have the patience to sit down and hatch 100, 200 eggs to get like the closely perfect as possible Pokemon. But I did get a lot into EV training, especially with super training with X and Y. It was pretty easy, very easy to keep track of the EV. Sorry. The other thing was that it was pretty tedious. The whole mini games where you had to like throw balls at like a balloon. That was the only thing. But afterwards, I would try to like build my Pokemon semi-competitive way and just like battle out my friends. Um, if I were to do it right now, I'm at a different stage in my life, and I've personally not found like the balance or the time to sit down and build a competitive team. But I have played a bit of Pokemon Showdown, since that's a simulator, and that makes it completely easy and very, very accessible, so that anybody could just like jump into the website, configure what EVs or IV spread the Pokemon should have, and put an item on it, and then just battle it out through there. If it was something as easy as that, then I might put some more time into competitive Pokemon.
Well, to be fair, after this interview, I can tell you a couple of things because it recently just got a lot easier for all of us to get into it. Yeah, it got a lot easier thanks to some fun little things that we've discovered. And I'll tell you after the interview, okay, but I'm pretty sure our editor knows what I'm talking about.
Okay, I think I know there.
With that being said, on that note, I gotta ask you, are there any other Pokemon games you've considered playing other than the main series game?
Other games outside of the main series, well, actually the first ones that I played outside were Pokemon Ranger. I played both the first one and also the second one, which is Shadows of Valmir, which is a very fun game. I have such fun memories of playing Shadows of Valmir. I sadly never got to play the third game, which I think was Guardian Science. I think it came out and something just didn't catch my attention like the previous games, so I never bought it. But that's the first time that I played something outside of the main series. And then Pokemon Go came around in 2016, and that was a huge boom. Everybody was playing Pokemon Go, and me as a longtime Pokemon fan, I also got into the boom of playing Pokemon Go. And then sometime after, I think it was like 2021, when Pokemon Unite came out as well. And started Unite, my first main was Garchomp. Garchomp's my favorite Pokemon. In fact, my username in Pokemon Go is actually named after Garchomp. But then I got together with some friends and we formed an esports team, you want to call that, at the beginning of this year. And I've been trying to use other Pokemon. I've been maining a lot of Blastoise and also Venusaur. And most recently, I've been trying to expand my roster and also use other options like Slowbro, Ninetales, Glaceon, and other Pokemon like that.
Nice. All right, so let's have a little bit of fun, and I'm going to mention the names of 10 Pokemon. You say the first thing that comes to your mind. So the first one, and this one would be Dragonite.
Yellow. Just say the first thing that I think to my mind. Charizard? I think fire.
What about the Devil of the Beast?
Fake Out. I've just heard so much about Incineroar and Fake Out on competitive videos like Wolfie VGC. They just mentioned Fake Out so much, so it's just intrinsically connected.
All right. What about Tyranitar?
Destruction. He's embodiment of destruction. He's inspired after Godzilla, after all.
All right. What about Fluttermane?
Broken. That's the first Paradox Pokemon that I heard that got banned on 2 Ubers, I believe.
We have thrown 4 formats at this thing, and it's still alive.
Yeah, it's still going on. It's crazy.
Greninja.
Cool. It was really cool. I don't know how else to put it. I have a figure of Greninja actually behind me.
I think the one thing that everyone kind of that was the fact that he lost the league for Ash.
Oh, don't even bring that up. I was so disappointed. I jumped out of the couch when I saw it on my TV because I put YouTube onto my screen. And I was so excited. I was like, finally, he's gonna win the league. But no, he drops down. Such a disappointing loss. It haunted us for the next 3 years until he won the league in Alola. Heck, I even read actually on Twitter that one of the staff members who were working in the X and Y anime was also vastly disappointed at the fact that Greninja lost. Everybody was vouching on the fact that Greninja was gonna win. But yeah.
You remember, you've ever watched Avatar: The Last Airbender?
I never finished it. I know more or less about the series.
Well, near the finale, Azula had a mental breakdown at the end of Avatar. That was basically me at the end watching Ninja.
Yes, I feel you. But then it was completely opposite afterwards with the Alola League, with the battle between him and what's his name again? Gladion. But then when they brought the battle with Kukui, that was even more cool. The way that they ended up with the Z moves, Tapu Koko and Pikachu going at it. That was memorable. And then of course, who could forget last year when Ash finally won the World Championship?
Yeah,
that was something to cry for. As I've been growing up with the anime since I was like 4 years old, to finally see Ash win not just a championship, but like the world championship. That's just a memory that can never go away.
Yeah. What about this guy, Drago?
I'm trying to think about like the first word that came was dead, because I read some of the Pokédex trivia that its current form is like its reincarnation or something. Because he used to be had like a different form where he was alive back in ancient times, and I looked into a bit of its inspiration, and it was like some sort of aquatic animal. So I'm imagining that it could have been like some sort of like, I don't know, water dragon type.
Right. I'm trying to think. Oh, Iron Hands.
Football star, because of its Pokédex entries saying something that it was like some sort of athlete that remodeled into Iron Hands. So I recall.
Speaking of lifting, champ.
Lifting, like he's a total gym bro. My champ's a total gym bro.
Yeah, he really does look like he hits. Let's see. Oh,
He never misses arms.
oh, I got one. Moon.
Roaring would mind blow, because I think that's the coolest thing that they've brought out of Scarlet and Violet. I kid you not. Ever since I laid eyes on it, it was just like my profile picture, my wallpaper for like 5 months, because it looks so freaking cool. Like, I cannot stress how much I love dragons and the color red, and the way that it looks so menacing altogether. Like, it grabbed Salamence, and they just turned it like into the cooler version by a lot. And I don't know how to put it into words, but he just looks really menacing, and I just love him out of all the Pokemon that they brought in Scarlet and Violet.
And finally, the last Pokemon would be Raging Bull.
Raging who? Oh, Raging Bolt.
Oh yeah, the Black Raikou.
Yeah, long neck. It's just a long boy. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what they were going for with that design. I read that it's maybe inspired after this mythological Chinese/Japanese beast, the Kirin, because some people say that it has like a short neck, but then there's other iterations in which it has a long neck, and some people say that's like the mythological giraffe. So yeah, I can only think that with long neck. That's the highlight of it.
Yeah, it's like they look at, because Walking Miglet's really good, and then you have this thing. And the big question here is, what on earth are they going to do to Entei?
I've heard people saying that they're going to do like some sort of Triceratops design. I don't know at this point, but whatever could happen. Anything could happen.
Like, run, Entei, run.
Yeah, it has to run. And also Terrakion. Well, Terrakion's going to become just a robot.
Yeah, Terrakion's kind of easy. Like, he's okay. He's going to be fine.
He's going to be fine, but I don't really like the whole robot aesthetic. Like, I get what they were going for with this whole like futuristic theme, but come on, they could have done more with those designs. Like Tyranitar Iron Thorns looks really disappointing. The only one that looks really cool in my opinion would be Iron Valiant, the series version of Gardevoir and Galette. Like, that actually looks like a very different design from its predecessors.
Yeah, it looks like they both got to Sonic just grab them together and just merge them all.
Yeah. And it still looks like its own thing. Like, you can tell it's related, but it also looks like its own thing, instead of the other ones that just look like a robot version.
Right, so be honest with me. You've already said that your favorite Pokemon is Garchomp, but would you see it as like your partner throughout the fan?
Yes.
So,
Without hesitation, yes.
so final question. What would be your ideal Pokemon dream team of 6?
That's a tough question. You know why? Because I try to always make a different team for like not just the generation, but like for every independent game. Like I kid you not, if I could, I would show you somewhere in my files. I have an Excel sheet. Like, I put the name of a Pokemon game, like Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Yellow, and then below that cell, I would write down the 6 Pokemon I think I would use for that game specifically, including like version exclusives, any legendaries, or anything whatsoever. But if I were to put the top 6. Like, without a doubt, Garchomp would be there. He's gonna be like the core or like the main fight of the team. Next I would have to like see and put other Pokemon. Is that I'm stuck in between either. Do I want to use my favorites and have an unbalanced team, or do I want to have a balanced team but then not be like entirely my favorites? You know. I think the best answer I can give you right now was it I made out recently, in which it was like quote unquote the best Pokemons or my favorites for per generation. And the funny thing is that uh they don't repeat types.
Yeah.
So we have Gyarados for Generation 1, being a water flying. We got Tyranitar for Generation 2, Rock Dark. Metagross for Generation 3 with Steel Psychic. I guess Generation 4 would be Garchomp, obviously. And Generation 5 would be Volcarona, Big Bug Fire. And then for the sixth member, I would put, because I had a list of this, I would put Hisuian Zoroark. Again, because of the whole no repeat with the type. It's from Generation 8, and I don't know, just the design looks really cool. And also the fact that it's very ironic that its only weakness, being Dark type, was from its original version.
Yeah, it really was. It kind of is very ironic. Alrighty then. This was amazing, Tom. It was truly a pleasure to sit down and talk to you about Pokemon. Hope to one day that we can actually play against each other, because I have a feeling you'd be an extremely, really tough opponent. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, same I can say about you, Paradox. I will look forward to that as well.
But that being said, though, we also do. I've also heard that you play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh. So the thing that I'm thinking of is that we make part 2. We focus on Yu-Gi-Oh, the next one. What do you say?
I think that would be really great. Yeah, I've also similar to Pokemon, because both of them have been like my childhood franchises that I grew up on because of the TV shows. And I didn't get into Yu-Gi-Oh until I got my first job and I had some income, so I could be able to spend on the cards because they can be really expensive. Just before we end things, mind if I ask you one question to you now, Paradox?
Yeah, of course, go ahead.
So I was actually a bit intrigued and curious when you reached out to me, that you gave me that follow on Instagram. So I was wondering, how do you find out about me, and how do you know that I might play Pokemon? What gave you the hunch?
I basically found out I was looking over like the stadium players, the people who follow them, and I've been looking at I've been seeing that you follow Go. We've been looking to talk about for both of them. And then when we reached out to you, I didn't expect for you to be like first fine and Yu-Gi-Oh, whatnot. Like, this guy not only can and Yu-Gi-Oh. They're like a diamond. They're like a diamond in a bunch of coal.
I guess I'm a bit, I've dipped my toes a bit on different communities. In fact, I actually just have here right next to me my stadium shirt that I got from them last year.
Yeah, that's
Well, yeah, when I first got into the community after the World Championship ended last year, they were like, "Yeah, we're getting some of these shirts," and I jumped on the wagon, and yeah, it's really cool. I have this shirt for them.
nice. Very nice. Well then, Stadium Cinco Siete, you guys got a bit of some there. Very cool. Very nice. Anyway, I was saying, this was a great time. We'll be seeing you on the channel again for part 2. We'll be covering Yu-Gi-Oh. And who knows, maybe we might get a little bit lucky and we can also talk about your for part 2 of Yu-Gi-Oh. Then if we have enough time, we can talk about your adventures in the possible.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to them. Just let me know, and we'll do our phone call.
All right, sounds good. This is Chart signing off. Wait until I finish recording, and here we go.